Ladies and gents, men do want kids. Yes, they do. I just got cornered by somebody about 2 hours ago in town here for being apparently a pimp. Yes, a pimp. That's right. And by the way, guys, we're doing this podcast episode. Before we go into all the detail, we have people here on live TikTok. I want to know what they think about, do men want kids? Do men hate kids? Do they not like kids at all? We're going to go through every type of guy here. Now, I'm going to stay on TikTok for 2 hours live, but this will probably be a half an hour episode, maybe less, maybe more. But anyway, back to the story. So, I got cornered by this lady. It's always in the car park. That's what I always find. They wait for that moment when you're on your own. Why is that? What is that about? So anyway, 2 hours ago, I'm walking across and having a stroll around town, and then all of a sudden I'm coming back to the office or the studio. And then all of a sudden this lady comes up. You're Peter, right? And you just know this is going down. It's going so south down. It's insane by the tone on her voice. You're Peter, right? Disgust look on her face. She knows exactly who I am. And as she's saying that, she's coming over. You can see she's about to upload, man, lock and load, get ready to fire the fucking target on me. So anyway, she starts talking and she says, yeah, I've heard one or two of your lives. I went, oh, Jesus. Okay, what did I do? So I'm trying to sort of calm the situation down, like a bit of a laugh. So she's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't be saying that you're a pimp. I went, you're joking. Okay, right, okay, sorry. What were you about to say? She goes, no, I'm being serious. I went, no, you please be serious. No, I'm being serious. You shouldn't be saying to people online that you're a pimp. I went, hang on, back up here. Sorry, 1 second. Okay, now I'm starting to get a bit fucking annoyed, all right? Now it's starting to build. So I'm saying, hang on, what do you mean by pimp? Again, I'm trying to put on that little laugh just to keep things good. So she goes, well, I've heard you that, you're trying to do all this dating shit. And I went, oh. And then she's like, yeah, well, and I've heard you on a live say, well, okay, guys, I'm your male pimp. And I went, okay, well, you shouldn't be saying that. I said, but I'm joking. What do you mean you're joking? I went, well, I'm trying to help people hook up, right? So I've created these Facebook groups. I said, sorry, do you follow me here? Or do you follow me at all on social media? No. I went, okay then, calm down. So I said, look, I'm trying to help people find people in this world. I've created these dating groups. Now, as I'm talking, I'm saying to myself, why am I explaining myself? I think she just caught me on a tired day or something. So I said, look, I've created these dating groups. There's people that have hooked up from my TikTok even in the comments in live, even in comments on my social media posts on TikTok and any other places. And I said, what's the big deal? And I said, I know that they have because people have told me and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I'm joking about being a male pimp. You do realize that, right? So now I'm saying to myself, well, hang on, you know what? I'm going to keep explaining this because the more I'm explaining it, the more she's almost going on the back foot now. And I'm like, yeah, you do realize I'm arsing around? Yeah? Yeah, but people are taking that seriously. I went, no, you're taking that seriously. And she goes, excuse me? I went, no, come on, seriously. Just give me a break. Please, for the love of God. And I even said that out loud. And she goes, what do you mean? You should be responsible for what you do. And I went, yeah, I'm joking. And I'm sorry, what's your name? And I won't mention her name. I'll be still as discreet as always. So I said, look, X. And she told me her name. I said, look, it's a joke, okay? Everybody knows I'm messing online. They're not taking me seriously. And I even see when I joke around with things like that, people will put up laughy faces, right? Okay? Like, who calls themselves a pimp if they're not a pimp? All right, I'm sorry. No, that's the wrong way. Like, if I was a genuine pimp, I was selling women or selling men, why would I be calling myself a pimp online unless I'm actually trying to actually sell the women online? Right? Why would I do that? You know what I mean? Why am I going to joke about being a pimp? Do you get what I'm saying here, X? She goes, okay, you've got a valid point. I went, are you taking the piss? Seriously. Is this a piss take? No, it's not a piss take, Peter. I went, well, listen, honey, see that bridge over there? Yeah. Well, you know what? What you should do is try and build a bridge like that and get over your bridge. How's that? Boom. End of discussion, and I walked off. Good luck. And I just see one of the comments here in live. Maybe she's watching. Yeah, well, hey, if she's watching, I don't give a damn. Because you know what? This is insane. And hey, you know what? She's lucky I'm not mentioning her name. Because look, I know I never do mention people's names. So, but consider that lucky, all right? And no one will ever know who this person is. Jesus. So, like, guys, okay, I'm going to talk about now for the rest of this podcast, I'm going to talk about how men feel about having kids, all right? Because that was the other part. She talked about that, but the real part, guys, was about being a pimp, okay? And, you know, this is like, men with kids is not a big deal. There's some guys out there that do want kids. There's some guys out there that don't want kids. There's some guys out there that in the midstream that actually want kids if they meet the right woman, etc., etc. All right? So, yeah, sorry, if you've just tuned on here, guys. So, like, this whole pimp thing, maybe I didn't explain that last section properly, guys. She started off with that men wanting kids, right? And do men want kids? Do they not like kids? But, you know, you're acting that people should be all pimps, and I'm your pimp, and you're encouraging people. Sorry, yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to explain. I'm encouraging people to just go off and have one-night stands. And when I'm laughing about that I'm a pimp, well, then I've completely and utterly discouraging people to settle down. Now, I don't know. Before we get into the types of guys, right? I'm going to break down the different types of guys here now, ladies, some of them want kids, some of them want kids for different reasons, some of them don't want kids, right? And this is coming straight from the horse's mouth, from a guy. And this isn't research I've done online. This is none of the above. This is me knowing people out there in the world that I know who have kids, who don't have kids, and I'm obviously not going to mention their names, but this is some of the people that break it down to. So, okay. I mean, I'd say people on TikTok are laughing their ass off at this. Jesus. And even before I go, Laura says here, people don't need encouragement. You're goddamn right. Yes, keep them coming, TikTok. Keep them coming. And so, guys, right. Yes, here's the first type of guy out there. Guy number one. The guy that really, really wants a woman, so desperate for a woman, he'd do anything. He would ask her to move in tomorrow morning with her, right, after, let's say, 2 weeks, right? But he'd ask her almost to be moving in on date one, okay? And he'd do anything. He'd be paying for everything for her, this or that, or she'd end up moving in, or he moves in with her, right? And then they have kids eventually after 6 months. Or then there's the guy who's desperate for a girl, or not even desperate, he just really wants to settle down. Then again, I don't know, would you call that desperation? But again, this could be after a couple of months. And then he'll do anything to have that girl move in. And then he reveals to the girl he doesn't want any kids. And the girl has found out within 10 minutes of moving in with the guy. And then she just assumed that the guy would actually want kids just like her. But she never had that bloody that conversation because they moved in so bloody quick together. Then you've got the guy who just can't get into a relationship. And then he tries to be single for a while. And then he realizes his confidence is gone because he can't find a woman in his life. Then he goes out trying to be the single James Bond guy. And because his confidence is gone from the other part, he can't even pick up now. And then he gets more desperate. And now, of course, he was desperate at the start to have a woman. Now he's really desperate to have a woman. And now now he's really screwed. But then this guy would do anything to find a woman. He just can't find a woman. And then this type of guy can easily be the guy that would just hands down love to be in a relationship and have the kids, etc., etc. But you see, then again, look, you see, there's no Rosie in the garden situation for this, I don't think, because can you really trust that guy that will do, I mean, anything for the woman that'll have kids? Do you really want a guy that'll just do it for you? Surely you want the guy to have an interest in kids, right? Then, on the other side, you've got the same type of guy that's desperate because he's never had this situation before. He wants the kids. It's a big goal in his life. And he'll keep going and going until he finds the woman. And then you're a lucky person. You know? I mean, look, if there's any guys out here, I don't know, maybe I'm helping you as well here, lads, or think you're hilarious, like, or if you're having problems thinking that, Jesus, should I be having kids? Should I not? Maybe I'm helping you here. I hope I am. And then you've got the alpha male out there, right? The alpha male who's been single for ages. He'll cock block you with your friends. He doesn't want you hooking up. But then when he hooks up, he's all about having his girl, right? And then he's all about having kids. Then you've got the alpha male who doesn't cock block, and he'll be very supportive. And yet he won't want kids, or he'll want kids. I mean, I don't know if I'm just talking out of my ass here trying to explain the different types of guy. I really don't. So forgive me if I am. But I'm just trying to really pinpoint the types of dudes here. Then you've got the guy who always harps on about having kids. You know, he'd love to find a woman. Love to. And then he gets into a relationship, and then all of a sudden, the girl is a whack job. Right? Major whack job. And then you see his patterns start to emerge after a couple of years here, right? Where all of a sudden, every girl he hooks up with is a whack job. And then you start to say, Jesus, that girl really seemed cool. And like this type of guy can, not all of them, they can tell you that they want the babies, they want the marriage, they want everything. But it's just all a bullshit act. It's all a bullshit act. Then you've got the guy who's a sort of the, what would you call it? Not alpha male, but, you know, a good strong type of guy who independent, looks after himself. He's been a player for a long time in his life. And guess what? The moment he meets a woman, he wants to settle down and bang, he wants kids. Now, they're the different types of guys out there that you have, you know? And, I mean, where do I fall into this? I'm the type of guy, no problem being single. I love it. However, if I meet the right girl in the world, I would absolutely, if I fall head over heels, I absolutely want the marriage. I want the kids. I want everything. So I don't know if this is helping you. There's all different types of guys here out in the world, and you just don't know. Now, coming to the end of this podcast, and I'm going to stay on TikTok, by the way, guys. Coming to the end of this one, what's the solution to any ladies out there when you're dealing with guys like us? I'm going to have to include myself. What do you do? Well, very, very simple solution is if you want kids, bring it up in the first couple of dates. It's not, and you know, you got to tread carefully a little bit on that one. And you know, I wouldn't be sitting around having a fucking drink with a guy and staring at him and saying, I want kids. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be staring at him and waiting for him to reply. And you look like Glenn Close from Fatal Fucking Attraction here. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be going that far. But I'd be saying, you know, like, you know, you bring it up. You bring it up. And you say, well, yeah, you know, like you could even ask the guy. I mean, I've been asked that on a date. You know, I've genuinely been asked by a girl on more than once on dates that, so like, do you ever want kids or whatever? And you know what? She's not staring me in the face cold blank that I'm thinking that, oh my God, she wants to settle down and get married and have kids with me. Like, that's either a level of ego on me that think that the whole world is pathetically revolving around me, or I just genuinely think she's a psycho. You can bring this conversation up. Do you know what I mean? And you can even laugh it off if the person actually starts to kind of sit there going, what's going on with you? You could laugh it off going, come here. You're not thinking, now I want, and laugh. Bang, bang, bang. It's all over. So my point is this. You can bring this up on a first or second date. Now, why bother? If you like the guy or if you like the girl, well, then bring it up on the first or second date. What's the problem? At least you know, because if you, in case you really like this person, well, then you're saving yourself a lot of time. And you can bring it up casually. I wouldn't be scared of saying this, what you need. You know? It's not meaning. You could always say, I want kids eventually. If I meet the right guy. There you go. That's the right thing to say. Guy's certainly going to be saying, oh, okay, maybe I'm the right guy. Maybe I'm not. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? And, if I go on a first date, even let's exclude the baby part here and marriage. If I want to meet a girl, I'm not going to bring it up. But if I don't want to meet a girl, in other words, if I get to a date and if I'm not feeling it, man, I've had girls onto me on Tinder and Facebook and WhatsApp before I've met them, and the conversation gets heated. And then actually they ask me, what do I want? I'm like, oh, Jesus. Of course, it's actually worse on text message because you can't see their face. You don't know what they're thinking, you know what I mean? And you can easily just assume the worst. Like, you're thinking, oh my God, she's sharpening the fucking knives. If I say the wrong thing here, I'm fucked. I'm doomed. But like you'd say to them on the date one, well, look, I'm not looking for anything, I'll be honest with you. Or you say it to them before that. I honestly think the point is this, finishing off the podcast here, it's a quick one today. Finishing it off here, I think bring it up. If you want kids, you tell them you want kids, but you bring it up nice and soft and non-threatening, non-intensely, There's no big deal with this. I genuinely don't believe there's a big deal when you say this to people. Or if you don't want a relationship, tell the person you don't want a relationship. What's the problem? Anyway, so guys, I don't even know. I'm going all over the place. Maybe my podcast has been all over today here, all over the shop, and I'm not explaining things properly. I think I'm still a bit phased from that girl. And I think normally I never do get phased, but, maybe I'm just exhausted or something. But anyway, I'm staying on TikTok live here, guys, and I'm going to join you here. But guys, thanks for listening on the podcast. I hope this helps you on the podcast when it comes to what men think in having kids and relationships, but especially the kid part. And no, I'm not a pimp. Thanks, guys.
Peter. Wow.